If you work with fabric, scissors, needles, and pins, then there is no doubt in my mind that at some point you have or will get stuck or cut and get a blood stain on your fabric. Where the good news is, I have 3 tips that I want to share with you today on how you can remove blood stain from fabric. I own a custom drapery workroom, and yes, we often do get blood on treatments, and it's usually when we are in production. So that makes it kind of tough, whenever we're dealing with, say, a panel, and we're getting ready to press it and getting ready to wrap it up and take it out to the client. And we all of a sudden get pricked by a pin or stuck by scissors or whatever and get fabric and get blood on the fabric. But we have to react pretty quickly. And because it's maybe a full-fledged treatment, it's very difficult to just pick it up and run it over to the sink or, you know, um, to wash it out. So like I said, we've got to react real quick. So the first tip that I have for you, it is, I will tell you, the least desirable way to get the blood out. No, actually, it's pretty gross. But I will tell you that it works. And it has to do with your very own saliva. So if you get blood on a treatment fabric, then you need to spit on it and then suck that blood out. Now I have lipstick on, and I normally when I'm working, I do not wear any makeup just because I don't want makeup on my fabric. So hopefully if you have to react quickly, you don't have makeup on. So yes, your own saliva will pull that blood out. Again, it's gross. And I am gagging with you when I tell you you have to spit on it and then suck that blood out. Now, the second tip that I have for you, it's not as gross, but it has to do with your own saliva. And this tip is really great if you're working with a lot of white fabrics, wedding gowns, or maybe, you do a little bit of alterations. This really works well too. And a friend of mine who used to design wedding gowns taught me this trick. So you're just going to take some white thread, and probably cotton would work well, and just, I don't know, just pull you off a bunch and cut it, and then just roll it. Take it and wad it and just kind of roll it in your hand. And then again, you're going to want to spit on this. Get your saliva, get this nice and wet with your very own saliva. And I'm not going to do it because I think it's kind of gross. But pretend like this is wet, and then roll it around on that spot with your saliva. And the white thread in your saliva will pull that blood out of the fabric. So those are like I said, the 2 best tips to take blood out. Now the third tip I'm going to share with you, you can remove either dry blood or fresh blood. And this one is not as gross as the other 2. So you just take some hydrogen peroxide, and you can either add it to a cloth. I have here a piece of inner lining. You could probably use maybe a piece of paper towel, or you can take it and put it into a spray bottle. So I'm just going to open the peroxide, and I am going to just put it on a piece of this inner lining like I mentioned. And then I'm just going to rub it into the blood stain spot. Now I don't really have a blood stain on here because I'm going to tell you I don't even like the word blood. But let's pretend like this is my blood stain. So you're just going to rub it in, and once you do, it will start to dissolve. And then you can, if you need to, take a little bit of water. You can just take a little bit of water, rinse it out, and wipe the stain. And let it, like I said, just wipe the stain, and you'll see that it will start to dissolve. And if you need to, if you've used a spray bottle, you can just go ahead and spray spray the area as well. Now, if you once you do add peroxide to blood, a blood stain, I should say, it will start to bubble up a little bit. And again, like I said, just take it and use a little water to wipe it out. Now, a couple of things I want to mention when using hydrogen peroxide. If at all possible, go ahead and test an area of your fabric first. You're not quite sure how the peroxide maybe will react to some of the dyes in the fabrics. And a lot of times, if you're using clothing, if you are trying to get blood out of bloodstain out of clothing, you can. This is a great method to do that. Is to use the peroxide with a little bit of water, because afterwards you can kind of throw it into the washing machine with some dish detergent, with some laundry detergent to take the stain out. But again, in a custom drapery workroom, we just don't have that option to pull out to take our treatments and throw them in the wash to remove all the blood from the fabric. So I hope that you have found at least one of those tips useful to you as you remove bloodstains from fabric. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe down below to my channel and hit that little bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever I have my next tip for you. Okay, everyone, see you soon.